everyone. Mark with Grimtastic Baits here, and I want to apologize in advance first because, well, it's a nice day out, and I have idiots for neighbors that don't understand volume, especially their younger children that are boys that yell and scream like a bunch of little girls. So if you hear them in the background, I apologize in advance. Just is what it is, unfortunately. Anyway, today we are going to do a mold review or rating. We haven't done one of these in a long time, have we? Just letting you know in advance, as I always do. I do not get paid by anybody. I'm not endorsed by anybody. I don't get any kickbacks or spiffs or one thing or the other. These are just straight up, no nonsense, no BS reviews on molds and my thoughts of them. So today is a new to me mold. It's used, but it's in really, really good shape. And what we're looking at today is the BTS 3-inch single cavity twist tail grub. As we always do, let's start off on the price of this thing. $89. $89 for 3 cavities. As I always do, I like to split that up, see what that is per cavity. So 3 cavities at $89 each is $29.67 per cavity for a twist tail grub. I don't know if the rest of you are following along, but $30 for a 3-inch twist tail grub per cavity. So let's look into what the other options are from other makers. They may not be exactly the same, but they're pretty darn close. So first one I found, Epic Bait Molds has a 3-inch curly tail grub. It goes for $165. Now, before you like, yeah, that's way more expensive than this. This mold that Epic Bait Molds puts out is 10 cavity. So you're talking 10 cavities for $165. Now, we don't have to do a lot of math on that. We just slide the decimal point over one, don't we, boys and girls? If we remember our math from 2nd grade. $165 for 10 cavities is $16.50 a cavity. That is a really good price. Moving on. Do It has what they call the OG 3-inch grub. It's only a 2 cavity, but it's $54. So again, 54 divided by 2 gives us roughly $27. I think it's actually $27 on the money. $27 per cavity. Not great, Do It. I actually kind of thought they'd be the winner on this one. Bass Tackle has a 216 grub. The 216 grub runs for $79 for 2 cavities. Even worse than, is it worse than, yeah, that's $39.50 a cavity. So basically you'd be paying $40 to shoot 2 of these. What the heck, Bass Tackle? Come on. Fat Guys Fishing, $95 for a 4 cavity. So a little different. I like the idea of the way that that mold is set up because the screw goes down the center with 2 cavities on each side, which we're going to get to on this thing. That's $95 divided by 4, $23.75 a cavity. Getting a little better, and then Enforcer Bait Molds. I don't talk much about them. I don't have any other molds, but I see them out there. That's $99 for 4 cavities. So approximately $100 for 4 cavities puts us at $25 a cavity. So what that tells me is I'm a bit shocked. For once, Epic Bait Molds, who seems to be more expensive on everything than anybody else, actually has the best price if you're looking to spit out a bunch of 3-inch grubs. $165 for 10 cavities. Now you might think to yourself, that's still kind of spendy. Trust me, by the time you put out 3 of these over and over, you're going to wish that you had a 10 cavity to spit out a bunch of 3-inch grubs. So overall, cost on this thing, horrible. I give it a 3. Let's look at the design. Now, the plus side of this thing is this tail is gorgeous. I gotta admit, I've fished the heck out of this thing already. Haven't caught anything, still early in the year, or I just suck at fishing, or maybe both. The tail is thick. It is beefy. It is, here. It's a nice tail. It's got a kind of a, I don't know, like an edge all the way around it. And when this thing kicks, it's in the water, it almost looks like there's 2 tails going, like a twin twist tail, but it's just a single. It is, 3 inches in hanging length. So by that they mean essentially that's your 3 inches, not this, not from here to here. But when it's hanging open, better yet, if we do it like this, that's hanging length. So that's the 3 inches. Talking about the unit itself, you know what a stickler I am and how much I love the option of being able to use wing nuts to tighten the thing down and not have to use clamps. This might be, I hate to say it, worse than using clamps. Why? Okay, you see there's no bolts sticking out of this anywhere. Instead, you have to use a screw, and you have to screw it down. This is a pain in the butt. This is the first BTS molds I've ever owned, so I don't know if they're all like this or not, but that's enough to make me be like, no, I'm done with them, especially after seeing the price. So that's very slow, very difficult to use. The sprue is ginormous. This sprue is huge, and I don't like it. You use, literally, I weighed it out, okay? In order to make 3 baits, you'll use, I weighed it out, 10 grams of plastic. When you're done, you have 20 grams of sprue. These were taken, I just pulled them apart. These were shot together. Same plastic, everything. You use twice as much plastic just to fill the sprue, runner, whatever you want to call it, to make these. That's horrible for production. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. God, I really need to stop. I'm just going to put that down. Design on this just absolutely, it's horrible. It sucks. You're using so much space just to fill up these. If it was a 2 cavity or 4 cavity and it came off to here, at least then you're using the same sprue to fill the bait, to fill the mold. I don't understand the concept of the thinking behind this one. Design on this thing is a 3. I hate it. Now, versatility. It shoots singles, of course. Let's see, singles. Yeah, single. No big deal. It does shoot doubles. So, although not very well. I really would have expected it to shoot doubles a lot better than this. But I don't know if it's because there's so much plastic that has to make it into that tiny little opening. It's just for comparison, that's ridiculous. It will shoot triples and it will shoot them poorly. Let me find one. So here, you probably can't tell it, but this is this is actually a triple. It's a silver or a brown bottom. I don't know if you can pick that up or not. Silver middle, red top. Probably hard to pick up, and it does not do it very well either. But the versatility is there. You can do it. It does shoot very clear. I mean, you can tell here. There's no bubbles. There's no denting. There's no real flaws to it. It's not too bad. I like to shoot something clear with a glitter in it. That's why you're getting kind of a green shade from it at the top. So that's not too bad. You can cut the tails off and then shoot the body. I've done that. So it's kind of versatile for that. That doesn't work out too bad. And then to get real funky, as you know I always do, I was able to create a core shot, although not a very good core shot because, well, mainly the material I used probably. If you look here, that looks like, oh, that's a great core shot right on down the center. Well, as I turn it, you'll see it's pushed off to one side. There you can really tell. Reason being, when I did it, I used what I had available was just I cut down a couple of old pieces of stainless steel that I had, and I just laid them in there like that, and then you did your normal core shot. If that was a little thicker, maybe it would have turned out better if I had something to actually hold that in place if I drilled through there. Not going to mess with it though. I don't see me doing many core shots with this all, if any more shooting with this mold at all, to be honest with you. So versatility, kind of does a core shot, kind of does a triple, kind of does a double, does a single. You can do tail colors. Doesn't do them great though, so I'm going to give it an 8 for versatility. Now, as far as use, it took me a while to figure this one out. Problem is with this thing is, if you have the plastic even slightly too hot, it dents like a mofo. Right on the top of each one of these, it will give you a tremendously huge dent. So, of course, back it down. I shot it down to about 310, 320. That took care of most of the dents. But the other thing is, don't hold pressure on it, and this thing drinks a lot. If you can imagine, it keeps trying to fill in using this sprue, and if you don't have this sprue filled up, what it ends up doing is it ends up getting air in there, and that air just transfers right into that bait, and you're in trouble. You're done. It's going to dent. It's going to create bubbles and imperfections. Not cool, and it does it very quickly. Another thing that does it very quickly is it gets hot. Once this thing gets hot after like 4 or 5 shots, it's to the point where you can't even touch it. So when you're trying to make baits repeatedly over and over, not only is it going to suck because you're going to be wearing gloves as you should be, but you could feel the heat through the gloves. It's so bad. Second of all, it's taking longer to demold these things because that heat's just keeping that plastisol all gooey, so you have to wait longer before you demold. Not great. I should bomb the hell out of it, but I'm still going to give it a 6 because it does produce the baits fairly decent if you do everything right. So yeah, we're going to use this. We're going to say 6 on that. Now we're moving on to one of the last things, which is the appeal. It's a 3-inch twist tail grub. It's not a big deal. There's not a huge appeal for it. The only reason I picked this up was it was on the secondhand market for 50 bucks. And I was like, you know what? Ain't done a mold review in a while. Ain't a word, sorry, I used that. I have not done a mold review in a while, or rating. So I figured, 50 bucks, let's try it. I almost feel like I overpaid for this, even used at $50. There's really no appeal to it, I don't think. If you want a 3-inch grub, you can actually go to the store and buy a myriad of different colors and duals and triples, like from Mr. Twister, and all those things actually $2-3 for a bag. Some of them are $3 for a bag of 50. If you're going to produce these things for a business, don't bother. Don't do it. Just don't. It's not worth it. If you want to have a mold for shooting a few baits for a weekend, or a walleye or sawguy run that might be going on in a river, which is real big around Maumee area, which is north of where I am, and you don't want to pay $3 measly for 50 grubs, I'm trying to think of a reason you would buy this mold or why you want this mold. I can't come up with much. I should give it a 0, but I can't because it's not a total failure, and some people are going to want a 3-inch grub, blah, blah, blah. I'm still going to give it a bad score. I'm still going to give it a 4. So if we look at this thing overall, we take the big picture, we add up a 3, 3, 8, 6, 4, divide those out by the 5 to get the average. This mold is a 4.8. I think this may be the lowest scoring mold I have ever rated, reviewed, put my hands on. I am tempted to get some of the Do It Mold Essential series just to prove they're even better than this. I'm sorry, BTS. This is my first run with you guys, and anything that I hate to say this is horrible, but man, you need to go back to the drawing board. This is embarrassing. Anyway, that's what I come up with. 4.8 on this thing. Get it if you want it. I don't care. I wouldn't pay much for it though. You're better off, in my opinion, doing, if you're going to make a lot of them, Epic Bait Molds, 3-inch, $165 for 10. Your next best bet is Fat Guys Fishing, $95 for 4 cavity. If I'm getting crafty enough, I'll try and remember to actually post a picture while I'm going through this review, if I haven't already done so, if I haven't shown you already, of each mold and what it looks like in this corner, I don't know, where my hands are floating around, maybe you're my hand. I do have to. Anyway, I'd avoid it. There's better stuff out there. In the meantime, you know, I made a lot of baits with this, trying to perfect it, figure out if I like it, ins and outs of it, what have you. So I have shot a lot of these in learning how to make this thing work. So many so that I used just kind of a color I had left over. It was kind of a dirty silver color. And this bag has 50 of them in there. If you're interested in those, we'll run a little giveaway. If you put in the comments, #Grimtastic, and you share this video with 2 other people, completely on the honor system if you guys share or not, I will give that away completely free. I will pay the shipping, continental US only. I'm sure there could be other people that are going to try and scam something out of it. It's up to me. As far as if everything's kosher, I will do a live Facebook or something when I do the drawing, so you guys know they're not getting cheated. I'm going to use anybody that does #Grimtastic in the comments on this video. You will be in the running to get this. I'll draw when I draw. Not sure when it'll be. Not sure if it'll be a week or 2 weeks, but I will do it, and it will be out there. So if you're interested, go ahead and do that. And as always, don't subscribe. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do, but don't buy this mold. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.